everyone. Well, you know, local fire departments often have devices, life-saving devices like thermal imaging cameras or devices. And today we want to use that for a very different purpose. This morning, Ashley Kirkland is at the Marquette City Fire Department to tell us more about what that imaging camera can show us. Ashley?
Well, Vicki, we always hear about how cold can affect our bodies and our cars, but we never actually get to see those effects happening. Right now, we're here at the Marquette City Fire Department. I'm here with Chris Schertz from the Marquette City Fire Department. Thanks so much. Now, before we get started on the imaging device, we were talking, and you were actually at a fire last night, and we were talking about the dangers of frostbite and covering up exposed skin. What can you say to that just through your experience?
Try to wear as many layers as you can. Even our bunker coats here are not the proper equipment for cold weather. So proper jackets, proper hats, proper gloves. You know, cover up as much as you can because frostbite can happen in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, and these imaging devices also help you guys to detect bodies in cold areas because we know bodies detect or they show warmth and they feed off of that warmth. How do you guys use these in fires in cold areas and like car accidents?
Well, real briefly, you know, on the screen here, you'll see the different temperatures. What it does is it takes room temperatures and it'll show what's hot compared to the rest of the objects in the room. So in fires, a lot of times you might see a white spot that's really hot and a dark spot that's kind of colder. I don't know if you can see much right there, but sorry.
Well, your hand has been exposed to the cold, and I've been in a glove here, and maybe it can just tell the difference in what we see with your hand. And so what's that color showing us?
You can see towards the bottom of the screen that my hand has a little bit of white there, and at the fingertips it's kind of darker. So it's starting to show that my hand's becoming colder with the colder temperatures outside.
Now, my hand, which has been in a glove, is a little bit lighter.
Yep. The whiter it is, the hotter it is,
Okay.
or the warmer it is compared to everything else around it.
Right, so it's showing the importance of kind of wearing those gloves and covering up. Now, also, we saw yesterday that there was a drill for a water rescue on Lake Superior, and you say you guys also can use these to detect when you try to look for fishermen or if there's an accident out on the lake.
Yes, for search and rescue, a lot of times in the colder weather, we can like scan an area real quick to make sure, you know, sometimes it can show a footprint in the snow or it can show someone that might be laying down underneath a tree that we can't see. So it's very good to see body heat or to track someone with it.
Yeah. And now also when we talk about the cold weather, it's important to warm up your cars, but we never know why or exactly what it does for our engines. We have a car here that's been warming up, and then we have one that's been in the cold just sitting there. Can you show us the difference in the engines there?
Yep. If you look closely, you can see the defrosters on the windshield right there, the whiter towards the bottom. So that kind of shows you the different temperatures in your windshield right away. And then I'll pop the hood here and we'll look at the engine. Drop it a little bit there. So if you can see on there, you can see where the dark spots are on your engine. And the white spots, you know, that's where the engine's starting to warm up. So it takes a little bit of a while, and also like your battery, you know, the colder it is, the harder it's going to turn over.
And this car, how long has this car been warming up?
About 20 minutes now.
Okay, and so we can see also in this car that's just been sitting there, hasn't been warming up at all, and you know, this is the danger of kind of starting your car when it's just cold and going and driving.
You can kind of see a little bit of difference. I did move it earlier, so it did warm up a little bit, but it is a little bit colder. You can see on the sides, even where it's darker of the frame, you can't, it's not as warm as the engine is.
Right, and the gauges here, we see it goes up to temperature reading of 1200. Where is this sitting at right now?
This is at the lowest it can go. It's at 0. It won't go below 0, even though out here is a lot colder than 0.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Chris, and we'll be back with more about jump starting your car in this cold weather because there are some important tips that you need to know about doing that to stay safe and also to make sure that your car jump starts properly. We'll be back with that. Vicki, Ashley Kirkland reporting live.
Ever wondered how cold is too cold to do regular activities and maybe do them safely, like jump your car? Ashley Kirkland, she's going to be back live from the fire department with more of those answers. Ashley?
Hey Chris, don't let anybody.
Good morning, Sam. You gave me a little chuckle there with my name, but we know that when it's cold outside, sometimes we have issues with our engines and also the batteries on our car. They are prone to die in cold weather. Right now, I'm back here with Captain Lankor at the Marquette City Fire Department. Thanks so much for being here this morning. Now, you have jumped a lot of cars in your day, and you say that you need to be really careful, especially in the cold. What are the first things that you need to have in your car for to jump another vehicle?
Well, a good set of jumper cables is one. A fire extinguisher is another one, because you do take the risk of the battery explosion. So to have a fire extinguisher on hand is also good. And also safety glasses. There has been cases where the batteries have exploded when trying to jump your vehicle. So safety glasses is a must.
And that really was surprising to me just to hear that you had to have a fire extinguisher. Is this the proper size that you want to have in your vehicle?
Usually bigger the better, but that would be a good size to start with, anywhere from a 5-pounder to a 10-pound extinguisher.
Okay. So now you're going to walk us through the steps of how to properly do this when you're having to jumpstart another vehicle or your own. Where do we start?
Well, let's start with basically make sure the ignitions are off on both vehicles, the vehicles are stabilized and they're not going to be rolling away. And also make sure that the vehicles aren't touching at all, because that can create a short and an explosion.
Okay.
So there is a proper setup or a proper procedure for hooking up the cables, and we'll do that now.
Okay. And where should the cables be touching? Is it good for them to touch the metal because it'll most likely be cold?
No, it's not. You don't want the positive side of the cables touching metal. The positive is the red one, okay, and the negative is the black one, okay, and you don't want these to touch at all, okay, because they can arc, and if they arc, the battery on the other end can explode.
Okay.
Okay.
So walk us through the steps here as you go.
So this is the dead vehicle here, okay, that we're going to jump. Okay, so we'll go to the positive side of the dead vehicle, okay, first, and then we'll go to the positive side of the good vehicle, okay, which is over here. And we'll hook that up on the positive side, okay, and then we'll go to the negative side of the good vehicle. And now this is the important step here, is that the ground of the dead vehicle needs to make good contact with metal of the chassis of the vehicle, okay? You don't want to go to the ground here because you'll create a spark there, and that's when you can get the explosion. Okay.
Now we saw the difference in the inside of those cars when they both were outside. Does this car need to warm up more, the car that's helping to give the jump?
The car that is giving the jump, you can raise the idle on that vehicle, and that will create more current coming to the dead vehicle.
Okay.
Okay. So if you go to jump the vehicle and it's not working, you go to start it and it's not working, you can raise the RPMs on the good vehicle to create more current going to the battery.
Okay. And then what else? How do we finish the job here?
Usually reverse order, okay, which is taking the ground off of the metal bracket, okay, and then just reverse the order, disconnecting the cables. Make sure your cables aren't getting within the fan, okay, that's turning. That can cause a problem.
Okay.
And that's it.
And typically, when the weather is colder and you see these dead batteries, do you have a high success rate of jumping the battery?
Yes. Yeah. Another thing you can do is to pull the headlight switch, and if your headlights are bright, then it's probably not your battery, okay, and the vehicle won't start.
Okay.
It could be a short somewhere else within the engine.
Yeah. And that lets us know, because we know the cold weather can affect a lot of things on your car. Thanks so much, Captain. And we'll have those great tips for you on our website. Make sure to stick around for more of your TV6 Morning News.